When you're making a tutorial, you often want to draw your audience's eyes to a certain part of your frame, like, say, the border around this stick here. How do you do that? Well, one way is by creating an arrow. To do that, go over here in the browser window and click on the Titles and Generators button and choose Generators. Next, choose the Shapes option here and add it to your timeline by pressing Q. The default is white with a red border, but if you click up here in the inspector window, you can uncheck the outline and you can change the color of the inside to any color you want. You can change the shape from circle to something else like arrow. Next, to resize it, the easiest way is to switch over to the transform tool and use the scale slider. And then this button here allows you to rotate it. You can position the arrow anywhere you want. You can also add cross dissolves to make the arrow fade in when you play, which you might think looks better. Ooh. Another thing you can do to add emphasis is add text on top of the arrow. I just added a basic title by pressing Ctrl-T. Now I position my title right on top of the arrow. Of course, I want a different color, so I'm going to scroll down to Face and choose black, so it's easier to see. And now I can tweak the title, change what it says, position it better, and this might help direct my audience's attention as well. When you create an arrow you like, you can duplicate it easily by just clicking on it and option dragging it to another location. Using the transform tool, you can make it really skinny, or you can make it really long, and you can rotate it to point anywhere you want it to point. Suppose I want to add emphasis to a whole window like this. I'm going to follow the same steps, going to Generators, selecting Shapes, and adding it above my timeline. And this time, instead of an arrow, I'm going to make this a square. A square. Yeah. Now I want to get rid of the fill, so I'm going to uncheck this box. And now the outline I can change to any color I want and any width that I want. I can also make the corners more rounded if I want to. And once I get it the way that I like, I can reposition it using the transform tool by just dragging and putting it where I want. Then using the controls on the sides here, I can make it smaller, skinnier, until it fits around exactly the part I want my audience to pay attention to. And I can make this shape fade in like I did before by pressing Command-T, and I'm going to make them faster here. So here's what it'll look like. You can also add emphasis by using the color corrector. I'm going to add a color board and then click up here and add a shape mask. Position the mask above the area you want to emphasize, resize it to fit. In this case, I probably don't want a lot of feathering, so I'm going to grab the outside border and drag it in. And once I've selected the area, I'm going to go over to color and then add a little color tint to this by just taking the global slider and moving it up a little bit in the yellow area here. All right, let's see how that'll look.
Ooh.
Finally, one other way to emphasize an area is to zoom in on it. I'm going to add a keyframe here in the transform tool where I want my zoom to start. Then I'm going to move my playhead over later in the clip and then just enlarge the video. and move it to where I want. Now when I play it, it will zoom and draw everyone's attention to the part I want them to look at. Hope this was helpful. Bye.